Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most rapidly evolving, fascinating, and, let's be real, controversial spaces in modern healthcare right now, the intersection of artificial intelligence and mental health. We're going to unpack the hard data and the deep psychological questions surrounding AI in therapy.
So, let me ask you this. In fact, research published in the BMJ reveals a really startling truth. They note that patients are already confiding sensitive information to artificial intelligence tools, often more freely than to clinicians. Yeah, you heard that right. According to peer-reviewed research, people actually prefer opening up to machines in a lot of instances. And if you think about it, why? Well, because algorithms don't judge you. They don't sigh, they don't check their watch, and they definitely don't raise an eyebrow when you tell them something personal. To get a solid grip on all this, we're going to cover 6 key areas in this explainer. We'll start with the surprising AI confidant and why it actually works, and then we'll meet the digital therapists currently on the market. After that, we absolutely have to examine the severe dangers of digital therapy, look at the undeniable human empathy advantage, and finally, wrap up with some crucial guidelines for our future.
All right, let's jump right in with our first topic, the surprising AI confidant.
Now, you might be thinking this is a totally new phenomenon, but it's really not. Surprisingly enough, all the way back in the 1960s, researchers found that patients were actually more candid with early, clunky computerized systems than with human doctors. Fast forward to today and look at Denmark. About 20% of their primary care consultations happen via digital messaging. Patients consistently report finding it so much easier to just type out those embarrassing concerns. Digital systems simply strip away the social hierarchy and that nagging fear of dismissal.
Which brings us to our next point. Why does AI actually work in a therapy setting? When we put human traits and AI traits side by side, a really clear divide emerges. On the human side, clinicians are, of course, wonderfully empathetic. But they're human. They get fatigued. They exist within a social hierarchy, and they can inadvertently signal judgment. Now on the AI side, the algorithm is practically flawless in its consistency. It's available 24/7, entirely unaffected by social status, and completely non-judgmental. Actually, get this. A recent simulated study found that patients rated an AI clinical interviewer as more polite and attentive than the actual human doctors. Wild, right?
And the clinical results are highly measurable. A recent systematic review published in the Archives of Psychiatric Nursing revealed a massive 60% decrease in depressive symptoms for users engaging with cognitive behavioral therapy-based AI. A 60% drop. This proves that way beyond the mere novelty of chatting with a bot, there is real, measurable utility here that could directly impact how we approach mental health treatment.
So who exactly are we talking to? Let's meet the AI therapists. The current market is packed with a huge variety of approaches. You've got Wobot, for instance, which relies on guided CBT dialogue, and it's even shown promise in reducing cravings for folks with substance use disorders. Then there's Wiza, which focuses heavily on empathy-driven daily check-ins to build what we call a therapeutic alliance. For sheer easy accessibility, you have Tess, which uses simple SMS messaging that's customized for pediatric wellness. And we can't forget Eliza, which represents the historic foundation of basic automated symptom tracking. Beyond these main players, folks are heavily utilizing apps like Uber and Bearable for continuous mood tracking in the days between their actual human therapy sessions. But of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We need to talk about the dangers of digital therapy. Because as you might expect, academic research is raising some major red flags right now. The International Journal of Creative Research Thoughts specifically warns that by replacing clinicians with algorithmic decision-making, we risk losing the nuanced, highly personalized clinical care that literally only a human can provide. Clinical boundaries are being actively tested every day here. First and foremost are crisis response failures. Think about it. An AI cannot physically intervene or call an ambulance during a fatal crisis. Then, there are severe risks of diagnostic errors and missing critical warning signs. The privacy violations are also a massive concern, especially since a lot of these apps lack standard HIPAA protection. That means deeply sensitive data could literally be sold to the highest bidder. And here's a really concerning one. AI chatbots can be sycophantic. That means they blindly agree with the user, which can actively enable delusional thinking and generate harmful medical advice for incredibly vulnerable patients.
This stark reality highlights our 5th topic perfectly, the human empathy advantage.
At the end of the day, AI-programmed responses rely purely on data models. They completely lack consciousness, and they can so easily misinterpret complex context. Authentic human connection, however, that brings genuine emotional attunement, true empathy, and a real therapeutic alliance. Clinical rehab centers strongly stress that this genuine human connection is the single strongest predictor of treatment success. When you're dealing with incredibly complex issues like addiction recovery, peer support, and real, breathing human empathy are absolutely vital. No algorithm can fake that.
So where do we go from here? Let's look at some guidelines for the future. To try and regulate this wild west of digital therapy, the Global Psychology Alliance has established some really clear principles for integration. It starts with ensuring AI is applied with strict ethical oversight and maintaining professional competence so that human clinicians are actually AI literate. We also absolutely must address serious issues of access, data bias, and inclusion within these models. But the ultimate goal? Keep human therapists central. The consensus is crystal clear. AI should be used as an adjunct tool, a helper, basically, to support clinicians, not as a replacement for the entire humanistic foundation of psychology.
I want you to consider this fascinating dialectical truth from our source material. Quote, if clinicians believe that trust is automatically conferred by their human presence, they may overlook that for many patients, trust is built through anonymity. It's such a fascinating paradox, isn't it? For some folks, anonymity is exactly the thing that builds trust and opens the door to getting help in the first place. But at the exact same time, an authentic human connection is what's ultimately required for actual lasting healing.
And that leaves us with one final, provocative thought. How will you balance the efficiency of digital innovation with the absolute necessity of human connection in your own healthcare journey? It's a lot to think about. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching the Next Hub YouTube channel, your destination for the latest